Welcome to Quantum Cracks, the channel where we unravel the mysteries and theories that crack the fabric of reality. In today's episode, we dive into the enigma of the Dyatlov Pass Incident. In the early morning hours of February 1959, a group of experienced Soviet hikers emerged from their tent in the remote Ural Mountains and began cutting it open from the inside. They were eager to start their day of skiing, but for reasons unknown, they would never finish the task. By that afternoon, a blizzard raged across the mountain pass, where the tent had been pitched just hours earlier. And within it lay 9 dead bodies, 8 men and 1 woman. 7 were fully clothed, and 2 partially so. 1 man was barefoot, another wore only his socks. All were slumped or lying in strange positions. Some showed signs of panic, others of contortion. What happened to them has never been explained. What we know for certain about this story begins with the group's leader, 43-year-old geomorphologist Igor Dyatlov. He was an experienced outdoorsman who had led several hiking expeditions throughout the Northern Hemisphere, and he was well known for pushing his teams to the limits of endurance. This time he assembled a group of 8 hand-picked hikers, all of them accomplished mountaineers and skiers between the ages of 23 and 37. On January 1959, they left Moscow aboard a train bound for the isolated outpost of Vitsy in northwest Russia. Situated deep within the Ural Mountains, a place almost entirely devoid of roads. There they would ski more than 31 miles over a period of 5 days, then return to the train, and continue on to their final destination, the northern slopes of Mount Otorten, which reach nearly 6,000 feet. From there, Dyatlov planned to collect geological samples for study back home, but the exact nature of his mission remains unclear. On January, after 4 days of travel, the group arrived at the base of Mount Otorten. They were met by a local park ranger named Zina Kolmogorova, who recalled being shocked by the team's poor preparation. They had barely enough food to last them the entire trek. And when she warned them of the dangerous conditions they would face, including avalanches, storms, and below-freezing temperatures, Dyatlov simply told her not to worry. His team was experienced. He knew what he was doing. So Kolmogorova let them go. She watched as they skied away up the mountainside, waved goodbye, then turned and walked back to her hut. It would be the last time she saw them alive. When the group failed to arrive back at the train station on February 6th, as expected, a search party was dispatched. The first sign of trouble was discovered near the banks of the Lazva River. It was a discarded ski. A few miles farther along the frozen river, they found the rest of the team's equipment, including sleds and a suitcase full of camping supplies. Then, on February 26th, exactly 2 weeks after the group had set out, searchers came across their tent on the northern slope of Kholat-Syakhl mountain pass, otherwise known as Dead Man's Hill. It was ripped open from the inside. As searchers approached, they heard strange sounds coming from inside the tent, described as groans, moans, and whispers. According to one investigator, Yuri Yudin, the sounds were definitely unnatural, like nothing anyone could explain. And while he stood there listening, something incredible appeared. In the dim light filtering through the nylon walls, the bodies of the 9 hikers seemed to move. Inside, they found the corpses of Yuri Krivonishenko, Rustem Slobodave, Ludmila Dubanina, Zina Kolmogorova, Nikolai Thibault, Yuri Doroshenko, Alexander Kolovatov, Semyon Zolotarov, and Igor Dyatlov. Their clothes were torn and scattered across the snow outside the tent. 2 of them, Krivonishenko and Slobodov, were found completely naked except for their socks. Another woman, Dubanina, was missing her tongue, while the eyes were absent from another, Kolmogorova. All of them had suffered massive internal trauma, including crushed skulls and shattered ribs, yet their bodies bore no external wounds, and the cause of death remained a total mystery, according to the official Soviet investigation. Dyatlov and 3 others had died from hypothermia after emerging from the tent. In their underwear and attempting to ski down the mountain in the blizzard, the remaining 6, including Dyatlov's girlfriend, Kolmogorova, died from a sudden, compelling natural force. But this conclusion offered little clarity on what had compelled these young hikers to abandon their tent, tear off their clothes, and walk into a blizzard. And how did they die? Whatever the compelling force was, did it target only 2 of the hikers and leave the rest unharmed? Clearly, something about their deaths didn't add up. One witness would later come forward to describe the state of one of the victims. To this day, the memory of those who saw him refuses to fade. His name was Nikolai Thibault. He was sitting in the fetal position, hugging himself and making strange guttural sounds. At first we thought he was alive, but when we got closer we realized he was dead. His lips were blue, his teeth were chattering, and his eyes were wide open and staring. One of the investigators, Major Smirnov, would later recall seeing something similar. We approached the girl Kolmogorova to roll her over, thinking she might have had an injury to the back of her head. But I remember distinctly her awful face, which I cannot forget to this day. Her eyes were wide open, staring into the sky. Her mouth was also wide open, as if screaming. Her tongue had been cut out. Another piece of evidence baffled the investigators. Traces of radiation were reportedly found on the clothing of all the deceased. Although the results of the radiation tests would later be classified, rumors spread throughout the small village where the bodies were taken that the hikers may have been caught in a nuclear explosion or bombarded by lethal rays from some other celestial body. Some witnesses also reported something even stranger: orange skin and gray hair. This wasn't possible. These people had not been dead for long. And what's more, they hadn't even changed clothes since leaving Moscow. So why were they suddenly a different color? To this day, the circumstances surrounding the death of the Dyatlov group remain officially unexplained. After the case was closed in 1959, it became a minor footnote in Soviet history, rarely mentioned outside of hushed whispers among outdoor enthusiasts. But in the late 80s and early 90s, it gained new life as the Iron Curtain fell, and Western researchers finally gained access to the records of the Dyatlov investigation. They unearthed disturbing details that had been kept secret for decades, including the allegations of radiation and the whisper of a cover-up. Theories immediately began circulating, ranging from military weapons testing to avalanche panic. Some believed the hikers had been killed by infrasound, a type of low-frequency sound wave capable of inducing panic or even madness. Still, others blamed a pack of Yetis or an UFO. But as time passed, the wilder theories lost steam, and the facts of the case grew ever more troubling. With no clear motive for why Dyatlov would lead his team into such dangerous terrain, scant evidence of any struggle or foul play, and a compelling natural force still unidentified, a handful of researchers and conspiracy theorists continue to dig for answers. In 2020, Russian authorities sought to put an end to the speculation once and for all. They exhumed the bodies of Dyatlov and 3 others, hoping to use modern technology to identify the cause of death. They found that the hikers died from multiple traumatic injuries consistent with an avalanche, crushed chests, shattered bones, and punctured lungs. But perhaps most troubling of all, trace amounts of the radioactive isotope cesium-137, the same substance found in the fallout of Chernobyl, suggesting they had been caught in a secret nuclear test. For now, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the strangest events in modern history. A grim and terrifying tale of fear, mystery, and unexplained death in the snowy wilderness, one that will no doubt continue to inspire books, documentaries, and conspiracies for years to come. Now, what do you think really happened at Dyatlov Pass? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please do like and subscribe for more stories. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.